You are listening to a Harbinger Studios podcast.
Hello, and welcome to the first episode of Creator Conversations. This is a podcast where I interview streamers and other creators about what they do, why they do it, and much more. If any of you don't know me, I am T-Rex, or Troy, and I stream at twitch.tv/T-Rex. That's TWRECKX_. For the first episode, we have a very special creator, IAMSPACESHARK. Shark is personally one of my favorite streamers. The quality of content she makes is incredible. I've known her for a while, and she is a wonderful person, extremely hardworking, and a truly great streamer. I'm thankful to her for letting me talk to her for a while and for jumping into this first episode with me. So go follow her on all platforms, and especially Twitch. It is IAMSPACESHARK everywhere, all caps. This podcast is going to be a bi-weekly thing, and I will try to keep up with that schedule to the best of my ability. If you enjoy this podcast, please rate us 5 stars, follow us on Twitter, and tell anyone you know who might be interested. Support in the beginning episodes of a podcast is incredibly meaningful and helpful in maintaining the uploads. Thank you all for listening, and let's get into the interview with IAMSPACESHARK. Welcome to the Creator Conversations podcast. I will just be asking you some questions about what you do and why you do it. If you would like to introduce yourself, that would be wonderful.
Okay, I am Space Shark. I am Space Shark everywhere. I am a streamer on twitch.tv. I usually play indie games and other blind and first playthroughs of really older AAA games. I do cross-stitching? I don't know.
Shark is a wonderful streamer, and I highly recommend checking out her stream.
Oh, thank you.
How exactly did you get into streaming?
I can't really remember exactly what. There was a long period where I actually rejected the thought of Twitch for a very long time. I knew
Really?
about it. I refused to look at Twitch. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was the hipster thing, right? Like, oh, that's so mainstream. I don't want to get involved with Twitch. But then I know that I found it through Reddit, like once I actually started paying attention, and I don't know what tuned me into it. But I ended up on the Twitch subreddit, and there was a streamer on there who's I don't even know what the post was about, but that was Bad Robot. He was the streamer I signed up to for Twitch for.
Wow.
Yeah, and so it's kind of been a roundabout way because I came to Twitch from a small streamer versus, these thousands of viewers each session, which I hear a lot of origin stories start there.
Yeah. So what's your history with like video games then?
Video games. I grew up with them. There was my first console was the Nintendo, the very first Nintendo system. At that point, I think I was still maybe too young to play the systems, but I would sit and watch my dad play. I think that it was mostly like we had it for him,
Yeah.
But so I was a Nintendo person for my entire life. Like NES, we went to Super Nintendo, and then like there was the chance of branching, right? You could either go PlayStation or N64.
Yeah.
So when my mom bought me the N64, and I was super disappointed, but then that like really just solidified that. So mostly, Nintendo consoles. That's what I grew up with.
Yeah. Are there any games that like stick out?
Like from childhood, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I just thinking back to like watching my dad play games. It was mostly me watching him on the NES playing that. Well, to me, it was like the original Zelda. I don't know if that was actually the first Zelda game. I don't know. I think back to that, and that's what sticks out to me as like my first gaming experience, even though I wasn't the one playing it.
It's the old watching the video games, yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's come full circle.
Yeah. And now people watch you. Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, why?
So you go by IAMSPACESHARK, yeah?
That's correct. Or, Space Shark.
what is the what's the origin of that name?
Uh, all these, I don't know. They're just these random happenstance things. I don't know. So I remember signing up for League of Legends, and I made like whatever League of Legends. I don't even know what company is that.
Riot, I believe.
Okay, Blizzard. Is it Blizzard? I thought it was Blizzard. Is it not?
For League of Legends, that's Riot. Blizzard does like Heroes of the Storm and WoW.
I thought it was all the same thing.
No.
Anyway, I have no idea. But I signed up with my email address, which my mom like made me make a garbage email address, and for whatever reason, the thing I came up with was "Hello, Mr. Shark." That was like my email.
Oh, yeah?
And so then from there, it just, once I was signing up to play League of Legends with a friend, and they're like, "That's a really cool name." And so ever since that, I ran with "Hello, Mr. Shark," and then it turned into "I am Bear Shark." Actually, that was that was my first iteration of Twitch. Was I am Bear Shark? Yeah. And then I went to try to draw a bear shark, and that was difficult. So I'm like, what is cooler than bears? And space is pretty cool. So I am Space Shark. It is.
Wow, that's a wonderful story.
It's a very roundabout.
So you play a lot of indie games on your stream.
I do.
What's the history of you with indie games specifically?
Hold on. I'm trying to even think of like the first. I don't even know like my first indie games. I don't know.
I know that back in the day, the Xbox Arcade kind of was my intro to indie games for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Super Meat Boy and Bastion, Limbo.
Yeah, I remember I knew about Limbo before I got even, like years before Twitch came around.
Mhm.
Honestly, it might just be kind of a newer interest because I've looked back at the streamers that I follow, and the third streamer I ever followed on Twitch was Seriously Clara. And Seriously Clara almost, I think, exclusively streamed indie games. I think she's still on a break right now. And so watching the games that she was playing always like really interested me, and I got a lot of, I think that's where I like launched off of finding smaller games. She tweets about all kinds of games. She has a huge database of games that she has played and tweeted about, So it was really going from there, and then falling in love with pixel art along the way. And it's just everything appeals to me. I found, indie games have a lot, not that AAAs don't, but indie games I've found really great soundtracks from. And I don't know. It was kind of like just one of those love at first sight things.
Yeah, absolutely. How would you rate your stream on like a movie rating system, like G to R?
G to R?
Yeah.
I might not know about this rating system.
Oh, well, like G or PG to PG-13.
Oh, got it. I'm like, what? Is it like 1 to 10 G to R? I don't know this rating.
Like what's your like?
Oh, like
audience?
Like an I,
like an I, a J. Yeah.
I would say my stream, I would give it a PG 13, but only because of the swears. The swears happen. If that wasn't there, then this is definitely like PG level. I'm not classified as a family friendly streamer, but I mean, there's no like gratuitous sex talk or like anything like that. But then again, at the same time, I don't like choose games that aren't super gory, or I don't choose. What did I say? I don't avoid games that are super gory. That kind of stuff.
So is it like, do you have to like filter yourself, or like do you have to like, is it hard to be yourself on stream, or do you like, is there a filter when you're on stream?
That's a really good question. And feel like I struggle with this a little bit. I don't filter myself, but I guess I would call it a filter. It's not like I'm sitting there and like, oh well, I really wish I could say more F words than I am, you know. But I think about what I say a lot more on stream, because you have that feeling of permanence, right? Like even if I went and deleted the VOD, it existed on a server, so it exists somewhere.
Yeah.
I think about things like that a lot. I like any words that come out of my mouth. You're constantly thinking about who, like, at least for me, I know there are streamers that probably don't think as much about what they're saying, but it's like, how could somebody take this? Is this offensive? It's a constant thing running in the back of my mind. It's not like on the forefront of my brain, but it's definitely like a sub process that's going on. I had something else to add to that. I'm trying to think. Oh yeah, the other thing I've noticed is that in real life, I, like everybody on the internet, tells me how nice I am. And I have never really considered myself to be a super nice person. And I think that just comes across, there's just different parts of your personality that are like amplified on the internet. And so like when people come in and I'm really excited about, because I can be really pumped about seeing somebody in real life, but then in real life the moment dies and you move on. But like when I'm on stream, it's like, please everybody, let's talk about how amazing this other person is, like that amplification just happens naturally. And that's what I mean. It isn't necessarily me changing for stream, but it happens just like without me even knowing it, really.
Yeah, and I wonder what that's like for like big streamers. Even like, I wonder how much they have to be careful about what they say.
I can't even imagine being a family friendly streamer, because then if you ever like invite somebody to like play a game with you, you have to be really careful with that. Like I watch Streamer Square. They do like, it's like a helpful, like, it's not really a podcast. They have turned it into a podcast, but like a resource on Twitch, and they'll have people on there that they interview, and it like somebody will drop an F-bomb and it's like, And
like Ninja, he a while back went from cursing on stream to no longer cursing.
Oh, I didn't. I've heard, some Ninja news, but that was one I missed. Okay.
So you came onto Twitch to watch streamers. At what point did you want to stream yourself?
Immediately. I immediately wanted to. And in the beginning, like, so I, let's say that it was maybe a month's time, I pretty quickly knew I wanted to stream, and I bought a capture card and a microphone and like all the stuff that you need, or most of the stuff that you need, I guess. And I tried to, I can't remember. I think I did like a practice stream, or, like those broadband tests or whatever. And I tried just to capture, I was trying to play Banjo-Kazooie, and I tried to capture that, and my all-in-one couldn't handle it, that I was trying to stream from. So that made me pump the brakes, and I'm kind of glad that happened, because I was in school and I can't imagine how it would be streaming in school and not having the equipment ready to go. And then, I mean, it launched me into a year of preparation. And so, I was like almost immediately straight out the door with a decent quality stream. And I don't think that would have happened if I hadn't, had that first initial bump right when I got involved. And like you need to also, I think part of streaming is you have to kind of have have your ear to the ground when it comes to Twitch culture. Like maybe I'm not 100% there, but like we all know what Kappa is. Would I have known that 2 weeks in? Probably not,
Yeah, no, yeah. You gotta keep up with all the emotes.
There's still some, I just, the memes I still don't get, or like people are like really into saying this, forehead. Like I get that it's like the duh emote, but Like people say it and it's like, oh yeah, I don't I can't use that naturally because I still don't really get it.
Yeah. Do you ever like in your regular life, do you ever like the things transfer over? Like sayings or anything?
No, like I don't say things like I know a lot of people will say pog or like kappa in real life, but no, my main frustration is like I know this perfect emote for this emoji I want to send to my mom, you know?
Mhm.
And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
of
God
course.
damn it. You know?
Yes, of course. That's
Yeah.
funny. I was trying to send a poggers emote to somebody today and I couldn't find one on my phone and I was really
I
sad about
know.
it. Yeah.
I mean, even just a think or like a
Yeah.
hype, like you throw your hands in the air.
Yeah.
There are tons of hype emotes. There is no proper emoji for hype.
Absolutely.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah. That's so funny. What has been the best experience you've had on Twitch so far?
Ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I don't really know if it comes down to like one particular thing that happened, but
Mhm.
I mean, I've just absolutely been blown away by this is the first time in my entire life that I've made friendships through the internet. Like a lot of people, you know, played WoW and like had made friends through that. This is my first experience ever feeling comfortable enough to make friends online. And so the community and meeting people and talking to people and like learning to like actually like love and care for people that you've never actually seen. Some people I've never even seen a picture of, you know, like it is the most amazing thing to me that happens. So it's like not a thing not a particular event, you know, has like made a mark on me, but just that community, like when I first started, I didn't even understand what community is. And like, thank God I figured it out. Like, it's amazing to make these friendships. And I think they're so meaningful. Like, I don't know. It's just, it blows me away every time I start thinking about it.
Absolutely. I think that the internet can be a wonderful thing in the way it connects people for sure.
I mean, yeah, to like, to bring people from across the world together. Like my one and only mod, Even Dawn, lives in Singapore. And
That's
that
crazy.
is, I know. And, you know, we've spoken very highly of each other and it's just, I don't know. It's just, it's fascinating. The whole thing is just super cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. Opposite to that, is there any moment on Twitch that sticks out as the worst thing that's happened or something along those lines?
Probably like my worst streaming experience so far was actually my 12-hour stream. And I really, I feel bad talking about that because the whole thing was like, you know, the whole event was to celebrate being on Twitch for a year. And I was super prepared as far as like, oh, I have food ready to go and I have my dog situated. And you know, I'm like physically ready to deal with this for 12 hours sitting in the same place doing kind of the same thing, but I had no idea about the emotional fallout. It was like it was introvert hell and I didn't know that was going to happen. It was just it's emotionally exhausting to stream sometimes, and I would say extended periods of time exacerbate that effect.
Yeah,
you might know a little bit about some long streams.
I just did a 24-hour stream and it was it wasn't too rough, honestly. Honestly, I think that may have been my favorite Twitch experience so far.
See, that's interesting that it's like an opposite experience.
By no means was it like easy, but just the amount of people that came out was
absolutely. I 100% agree with that. Yeah, no, like during my 12-hour stream, it was like everybody stopped by and it was like, I mean, even there were people lurking that I found out later were there, and I mean, people that don't usually have an opportunity to stop by made an effort. It was amazing. Like that part was fantastic. I had an amazing stream as it was happening, but the next day, maybe that was my problem, is I did this on a Sunday. The next day I had to go to work. and it was like the start of like our software release cycle. So it was like my introvert is
man.
dead, and now I have to go and interact with people.
Oh man.
It was rough. That was the rough part.
Yeah, that sounds rough.
The morning after.
What would you say like the hardest part of streaming is? What do you feel that you struggle with the most on stream or in preparation for a stream?
Up to this point, it really has. I mean, I've gone from. I feel like I'm working on. So this is once you get to a certain point with streaming, it becomes less about you. It becomes more about your community and about the people that you interact with. And so in the beginning, I would struggle a lot with, I mean, I still struggle today, but more so struggling with like, well, I don't want to stream today, so I don't, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And that has become, that's a lot less, that happens a lot less often to me. And I don't know if I mean, maybe it's like my life has adapted to the streaming lifestyle. I think in the beginning I was very resistant to this. It is a totally different lifestyle being a streamer and trying to keep a schedule. And like you also as a streamer always, it's probably good to, rest and actually relax and not do anything. But like, when you have downtime, you're still kind of thinking about your stream or like, this, or I'm watching this stream and this person does this really cool. I wonder how I could do that,
Yeah.
So it's like, it was just getting used to the streaming lifestyle.
For sure. So with that, do you find it like that it cuts into your personal life?
Interestingly enough, I think this is the perfect time for me to be streaming. Currently, I live in a college town, so I went to college and I had friends, made friendships here. This is not this is not the city I was born in, like I moved here for college. And so once college was over and everybody dispersed, it's like my job is now here in said college town. And so it's kind of okay because I was talking earlier about how amazing it has been to be able to make friendships online. And I feel totally satisfied by those friendships that I've made online. And there are a couple people that are still existing in the city that I live in. And so it's like, but again, the people that I associate with tend to be kind of like me and kind of antisocial, right? So, I don't know. It hasn't, if anything, I feel like streaming contributes to my social circle, so I've never felt like it's held me back from that. And then like also not being in the same city as my family. I think if I had my family near me, this would be a totally different conversation.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I've never really noticed anything like that.
Yeah. What's it like having a dog? Is that ever difficult?
Yes, that is extremely difficult. Yeah. She makes things difficult just in the sense that, you have another. She is a dog, admittedly, but she, she's been with me for over 13 years, almost 14 years now, and she's a family member, and so. Thankfully, this family member sleeps 23 hours a day. And so that's made it okay. But, there are some days where it's like, hello, you have been ignoring me for a week straight. I need attention. So that happens every once in a while. She has an attitude that I can just read. We've been together for so long, I can read her tude. And she does. It happens every once in a while, and then like especially for like that 12-hour stream, it's like, and now she's an older dog that needs medication at certain times, so it's like she is my number one responsibility besides myself. Streaming will never come before taking care of my pet, and so she adds a complication, but it's a small one. But I can I can see how pets can probably add to the difficulty of streaming. Thankfully, my dog Bo and I are kind of in a decent, like, this perfect bubble for, this perfect bubble in life for when this streaming thing has started.
Yeah. I used to stream in a different room, and I have a cat.
Mm.
And the hardest thing about streaming with the cat was that the damn cat would jump on the table all the time while I was streaming.
I don't know if I knew you had a cat.
Yeah.
Do you keep the cat out of the room while you're streaming?
Yeah, I now stream in like basically my garage. So
I mean, well, so another thing that she has done, so yeah, besides taking care of the dog, we have also had situations where like she'll come in and like, now she's messing with the quality of my stream. She'll come in and like jingle her collar around, or like one day she like ground pounded the desk underneath me and my microphone went flying, like, so if we're going into that, yes, she does affect my streaming.
yeah, that's funny. What is something that you feel you could improve upon in your stream quality?
I mean, it's like, what can't I improve upon? There's not. I do have there's definitely a hierarchy of things I want to work on, but I mean, I have a gigantic board full of to-do items of things that I want to fit, to do. I use something called Trello, and it lets me really organize, and supposedly I should be able to organize when I would want to approach something. I mean, it ranges from wanting to fix up my graphics. I get about halfway through some certain projects for stream before I start something that's like, maybe more manageable to finish on time. So it's just this constant struggle of, what can I complete and will have an immediate effect versus this thing that'll have a decent impact, but later, that I can just maybe do later. I don't know. But yeah, that ranges from like art stuff to wanting to get like a higher quality microphone. I think that sound is the number one thing for streaming. Above all else, it trumps everything else. And I think I have an okay audio setup, but it could everything could be better.
Yeah, I think you sound great. And
thank you.
There's like a diminishing returns point in that, like, once you put so much money into it, like the amount you're gonna get back from your audio quality is so little that it's like almost not worth it.
Right. Yeah. And that's why I really enjoyed that conversation that we were having, because that's one of the cooler things about streaming is that you end up learning about so many different aspects of streaming that you had, like, I didn't know marketing was a part of this when I started, and now I know about branding, and I know a little bit about audio, and I know what a key light is,
Yeah, I'm much more familiar with the Adobe suite than I would have ever imagined I would be in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I need to. So I'm the person. I'm like. For some reason, the word freegan jumped into my head, which is like free and vegan. Anyway, I like to do the free everything version of everything until I know that I want to commit money to something. And I'm getting to that point where it's like, well, maybe I want to pay for Photoshop now instead of using GIMP, because you get to a point.
When I was a student, I got the Adobe suite for free. So I just learned how to use it that way. And then when I was no longer a student, I was like, well, now I know how to use these programs. I have to pay for them.
Yeah, I get it. I started streaming what, like a year ago. So I'd been out of college for like 3 or 4 months. And so I think I could have still signed up for, but that's cheating.
Yeah.
And that would have been the ideal time to do it.
Yeah. So when you first started like a year ago, what did you struggle with the most? Like, what do you think the hardest part for a beginner is?
I would I don't know. It was maybe I think that I thought there was a when I went and rewatched some of my older VODs, there's definitely, like I said, I was very prepared. I was I was relatively prepared for my first stream,
Yeah.
but getting your OBS settings and like your output settings and how you're going to encode things, that situation
Mhm.
was not prepared for that. Even right now, I've mentioned it's just like if my OBS blew up and I didn't and I had to re-download it and like redo everything, it would take a little bit of time because it's you get it to a point, you set it aside and you're good to go. But I struggled with making the picture look good and like
Mhm.
all that, everything.
I had to restart my OBS once, and I think you'd be surprised at how fluent you are in it now. I bet it would take you less time than you think.
I hope so. I mean, I did
Yeah.
make this switch from slobs to OBS,
Yep,
and
I did the same thing.
yeah, and that went pretty seamlessly.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure I was like referring back to my slob settings,
Yeah, yeah. How long was it before, like, when you started streaming? How long do you think it took you to get your sea legs? I know you've said that your stream was a pretty high quality when you
hmm
started, but was there ever like a moment of like self accomplishment where you're like, okay, I'm confident in my stream and I'm proud of what I'm doing.
I don't know if there was like a particular moment. It was like once I got my OBS settings worked out,
Yeah.
then it was like, okay, well, now I guess I just sit and wait, right? Because
Yeah, yeah.
I was lucky enough. So I grew up. I was an only child. I'm an only child here, and I also I had a dad. My dad like talks to himself a little bit. He always has my entire life, and so that talking to yourself thing was super normalized for me. Like, I mean, not super normalized. Like,
Yeah.
it just was something that happened though, and I never thought anything about it. So the sitting and playing a game and talking to myself about what I was thinking, that was not a problem. And I know that that can be a problem for a lot of people. And so it was just, I knew it was a matter of time before, I was trying to make smart decisions. I was constantly still trying to like read up on the best ways to approach streaming, like even after I had started streaming. I mean, I still do that to this day.
Yeah.
um, but I don't think there was an aha moment. It was just, it just very slowly happened. And then, this is like less answering your question, but like once I finally, like, once I think my stream finally took off, it had to have been when I joined a stream team. I joined the Plant Army stream team, and
Mhm.
that was like instant community. And that was when I learned what community was and how important it is. And so that's what I think launched it, but I don't know if there was an aha moment as far as quality, like, oh, I'm finally doing things exactly how I want to be doing it.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting about the stream team for sure, because that's a world that I know very little of.
Yeah, I've loved it since I since I joined the Plant Army. The Plant Army is Misha Crossing stream team, and I heard about it on Twitter. I was following Misha on Twitter, and she had open applications for it, and so I applied and crossed my little fingers like I had just gotten affiliate, and I was really hoping to get on this
Mhm.
stream team because it seemed like a really cool, welcoming place, and I was accepted shortly after. And after that, it just became kind of like a list of people that I could go through and like know that I was going to get, a high quality stream, and like the people that I was going to interact with were going to be fairly welcoming, if not overwhelmingly welcoming. And from just being able to do that, pop into streams, I made so many good friends just from doing that and having that immediate camaraderie. I just I don't know. It made things amazing. That's it really I think is what turned because up until that point, I think everybody goes through it. You're sitting there with, one or two viewers and two of them are you, and it's like,
Yeah.
do I like this? I mean, I'm doing this all the, I'm here sitting here streaming and for 4 hours I'm talking to myself. Do I want to keep doing this? Is it worth it? Like
Yeah.
these thoughts go through your mind and then I never thought that again after
you never
meet those
have those
people.
thoughts anymore. You never contemplate no longer doing it.
Not really. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's like, well, I just need to fit this into my life and find a way to make it work because
Mm-hmm.
it's more than just streaming now.
What are your goals for streaming? Are you trying to do this full time, or do you just enjoy it as a hobby?
I do enjoy it as a hobby. I would love to. I know it is possible to be a part-time streamer and still hit that partner goal. And for the longest time, partnership wasn't even on my mind. But as I continue along, I'm coming to realize like, oh, it's not totally an unreachable goal. And if I
Mhm.
keep at it and keep improving, the possibilities are endless,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, this is never going to be my career. Let's say that. Like, I'm a software engineer, and I like that cushion, and I don't think streaming will ever be able to give me the peace of mind that having a career, a career in software engineering does. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's mostly going to be a hobby for sure.
Totally. Do you have any goals like short term? Like is there any like I know some people have like follower goals for a month or like bit goals for a month. Is there anything that you do along those lines?
The metric that I care the most about is concurrent viewership.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, well, if I'm talking short-term goals, I would love to unlock my 5th emote slot. I've gotten
Nice.
close, but no cigar. The 5th emote slot, that is an elusive dream still. And then other than that, I just would like concurrent viewership goals. I
Yeah.
don't have a particular number in mind, but I'm still at a point where I fluctuate a lot depending on other people's schedules. I think I mentioned this to you. It's, a fellow streamer, that guy Link, he mentioned, I don't know if this was like a private conversation, but I'm going to vote no. He said that I was a streamer's streamer, and I've just been obsessed with that thought ever since then. And I'm okay with that. I actually like that a lot. I think it's a huge compliment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
But at the same time, a streamer that relies upon other people's schedules. But I mean, what doesn't? When doesn't it? I mean,
Yeah.
even if my primary audience were just purely viewers, everybody has a life in the schedule. I don't know.
Mhm.
It's just this thought in my head that I can't let go of.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think that's totally true.
Yeah.
As a streamer, like as this kind of content creator, we deal with everything in its live, unfiltered form. So like if anything goes wrong in the moment, it's live.
Yeah.
Is there anything that like do you have an approach to how you deal with like problems? I mean, I guess this ranges from like so many things, but I guess like technical difficulties, like if something
Mhm.
happens on stream, what would you say like the best way to handle that is?
My most my most recent approach has been just to make a big joke about it. Because you get to a point, it's like I've been pretty good as a person and throughout any aspect of my life. It's like, what can you do? Like, if you have no control over it, what can you do? You just have to like roll with it, and hopefully the dumpster fire stops soon.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one day where I've been having camera issues, and I think that I fixed it for like a secondary camera for my cross stitching.
Oh yeah.
And there was one day I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's the camera and I have a backup camera. I'm going to go unbox it. So I did this whole fake unboxing of the second camera, just as like a joke. Cause it was like, what can I do? I have to like undo this. I have to like unpackage the whole thing. I have to plug it in and troubleshoot and like do all the changes with like, brightness and whatever else, exposure, whatever. So it's just become like a huge joke or like, I don't know, like, and I think that people are, I mean, being a streamer, like people are generally pretty, pretty aware of everything that goes into this. And I mean, it's not like people are sitting in your chat blaming you for not getting their show started, like,
yeah.
I don't know. I think it just takes some realization at that point, and then you just have to like kind of just settle back and try to fix things calmly. Because if everybody's up in arms, like what's that gonna do?
Yeah. And it always feels like it's like so long on your side, but in reality it's only like it's not that long.
Right. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, what is a 10-minute delay? Or like, I mean, you think about like people, I know a lot of streamers worry about taking breaks. Like if you have a job, you get a break like what? Every couple hours, you get a 15-minute break. But if you took that 7.5-minute break every hour or even 15 minutes in those 2 hours, it's a huge deal. That is a long time for a streamer, right? So
especially if you have like traction, like you can't really just leave.
Exactly. So and time is precious, but there has to be a balance. You have to set that for yourself. Like even right now, I am slowly coming to terms with having to take longer breaks to go feed Bo, because I can get her fed in like less than 10 minutes, but then it's like, okay, my dog's downstairs eating alone and I feel terrible, but you just have to make adaptations to your stream to make things like that okay. But I think if you set the expectations then for your community, then it's less of a huge deal, right?
Totally. Yeah. So do you spend a lot of time off stream working on your stream?
Yeah, it's pretty much constant.
Yeah,
pretty much constantly.
So do you spend a lot of time off stream like making content for other platforms?
I do not.
Like,
I actually, I broke this down. I don't think I have it up anymore. I can try to find it, but I broke down like what I actually do as far as my offline contributions go. And it's because the whole exercise was to see like, okay, so like for example, like if I were spending a ton of time trying to make my own emotes, like I put 10, 20 hours into making one emote, it's like, is that worth it? Or should I just outsource the emote making to an emote artist, right?
Yeah.
So, it just varies. That was what the exercise was about. But it ended up being me like, I used to spend a ton of time I always talk about this giant spreadsheet that I have of games, and I keep track of all these metrics for it, like how many people are in, like what's the viewer count for the first row, like what's the range of viewer count for the first row, second row, third row in the directory.
Whoa.
What is the like how many followers? I'm telling you, I used in this game, I've mentioned this before, I have on that spreadsheet like 640 games. And so every week I would go through every month, once a month, but it would be like a full process. Once a month, I would try to update all these stats for every single game.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, there was, I mean, it got really out of hand, and I've thankfully dialed that back, and I've been able to focus on other things. I've actually been able to play a game offline recently. It's special. It's amazing.
Yeah. So how do you play many video games off stream?
I never do, ever, until recently, until I stopped contributing to that giant. I've been playing Destiny 2 offline recently, and then I Nintendo games. Those sometimes I have a Switch, so
Nice.
those ones I sometimes. It's very rare though. It's like maybe once a week, maybe.
Yeah, I don't do it very often either.
Yeah.
I know that you spend a lot of time like making stuff for Twitter and like updating your Twitter. Do you have any thoughts on Twitter in regards to streaming?
You should be better at Twitter than I am. That's my advice. Twitter, I think, okay, so what I'm coming to realize is that there was this huge movement, I think it was maybe a couple months ago, where, a lot of big streamers started questioning, do I need to do going live tweets anymore?
Yeah, totally.
And that happened, and it's like, well, that is all my Twitter stream is about, But so, and like once the dust settled, and I don't know what everybody decided. I still do it, but I came to realize that Twitter is supposed to be kind of like a way for your viewers to connect with you on a more personal level, like to get your daily random thoughts that you're not on stream. So I wonder what this person is doing, like my favorite streamer, right? So I think that that's what Twitter is for. I still am a failure at trying to get to do that. I don't know, like I'm kind of I know it's shocking, I'm on Twitch, but I'm kind of a private person. I feel like that's like, like I'm not the only person out there that's like that, but
yeah.
I make a really good going live tweet. That's what you see. I've perfected the going live tweet, and I try to inject as much of my personality into those going live tweets as I can to make up for it slightly.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Do you have any kind of like routine outside of your stream schedule to keep you in check? Like not necessarily even about the stream, but like wake up at this time, work on the stream from this time to this time, go to work from this time and this time, anything like that?
Not really. I would like that. I mean, I've been like distracted recently because I started recently cross-stitching emotes, so I'm obsessed with this, and I've been staying up too late cross-stitching. And it's been preventing me from going to work at the time I would like to go. I have a very flexible work schedule, and I love that, but it pushes my night back. Like if I don't go in till 10, then now I have to go home at 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
Instead of 5. I mean, I'm just not good at keeping the schedules, but it would just be it really, me being a part-time streamer, full-time software engineer, with that coming first, like once that is pushed off kilter, which it happens more than I'd like to admit, then I mean, so I wish I had a better schedule. And I never set time aside. It might be smart, so then I'm not having to constantly be thinking about what can I do, or like it's interesting. Like I think about ways to improve the stream, but how much time do I actually put into improving the stream? I don't know. Like not as much as I spend thinking about it,
Yeah.
But if I had time set aside, then that might be easier. That might make it easier to actually make some progress on my giant task list that is, not shortening very much as we go along.
Yeah.
Do you have a routine? Is there something?
No, like
Tell me how. Help me, T-Rex.
I've tried in the past to be like, I just feel like I have so many things that I want to do. Like I want to make YouTube videos. I want to like make music and practice music, and like I want to be healthy. So like I don't know. I've tried to like wake up at a decent hour, like work out for an hour, play music for an hour, and then work until 4:00, and then work on the stream, like eat dinner and then work on the stream for 2 hours. And like I wish I did that, but then what happens is I just sleep too long and then I throw it all out the window.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. It's just like one thing is off kilter, and then it's a free for all for what gets your attention,
Yeah. But I feel like to make any headway in any of the things that I want to get done, that's what it's gonna take.
Yeah.
How important do you think originality is on Twitch?
I think that is super important, and I think it's one of the most elusive things on the platform.
Yeah.
I think it's on everybody's mind. It's like, what am I doing that makes me stand out? It's like, why are all these people spending time with me? Like, what what can I do to, like, and I'm very thankful for the people that do, stop by my stream and spend any amount of time, but there's always that thought of like, well, but what about growing, like, what about getting a new person, like, what is going to attract that brand new viewer? And I still don't know. For me, I've been on the platform for over a year now, and it's like, I cross stitch is like the only thing I can think of that makes me even close to stand out,
Yeah, it's tough. We're rounding down a little bit here, but I've got a couple more questions.
Okay.
What would be like, if you could give maybe like 3 or whatever arbitrary number, what advice would you give to anyone looking to stream?
Advice. Well, I mentioned it earlier. Absolutely focus on your audio first. I mean, yes, you want your picture to be decent and watchable, but if you're looking for what to look to improve first, number one thing should be your audio quality. Because there have been partnered streams that you jump in on, and it's like, I can hear a click, or something, and it's like, I'll end up closing that stream just because a lot of people, you have to think, like, there's a large population of people that sit down and watch Twitch visually, and I do that too as much as I can. But then there are people at work that are sitting there listening, and it's like, if all I'm doing is listening to your stream and I'm hearing something that's not unsavory that I can't handle, then I'm gonna eject, and you want to give people the fewest amount of reasons to leave your stream, right? So that would be my first one. No, I guess a number 2 would be to just keep doing it. Like I mentioned before, there's that struggle in the beginning where it's like, do I even like this? Like, you need to give it a fair chance, though. Like, just because you don't have somebody talking to you in chat, or you are getting frustrated on a game, or whatever the thing is that is leading you down this negative path, like, don't let that ruin your ability to keep streaming. Like, you just need to give it a fair shot, because it might be your favoriteest thing ever once you get past that initial starting bump, And then, these are not in order either. The first one is in order. The second and third, I don't know. Also, another thing that's really important is, like I said, you do need to find something that's going to help you stand out on Twitch. And so don't be afraid to branch out and try things. Like, it was a huge, scary jump to go from just streaming gameplay to streaming cross-stitch stuff. And I've been cross-stitching for years before that. It's not like cross-stitch was this brand new thing to me, but it was a brand new trying to get 2 cameras to work at the same time and get things lit correctly, like, you just I just had to jump off and try it and see how the first one goes. And I was, once you feel the support and the love for this new thing that you're doing, it motivates you to just keep doing more new things. And that's the magic of this, right?
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful piece of advice.
Yes.
And it also brings me to my next question.
Okay.
What's your biggest source of motivation?
Constant improvement, honestly. Like, I always want to, I don't want to, like, make anything. I don't want to, I can't think of the words for this. I constantly want to be improving. Like it's kind of like this Twitch thing is kind of like a game for me. Like I want to be really good at it. I don't have to be the best. I don't think that's possible, but I want to be good at what I can do within my limited ability. You know, like I want to be the best version of a streamer that I can be. So whatever I can do to reach that goal, I try to do it. And I just need to maybe hone my process for doing that. And I think, that just comes with time. Like, I think you learn how to be better at what you're producing as you go along. Totally. So yeah, that's my motivation. I mean, past that, it's really just, so besides the constant improvement, it's also just being around my community. Like I love being surrounded. The cool thing about Twitch that I found, or another cool thing, I keep talking about cool things, is that for me, people will come into my stream and, barring trolls, let's not give them the light of day. If somebody comes in and they start interacting with me, we've already gotten past the point in normal human interaction where it's like, well, this person likes me enough to talk to me, like I don't have to worry, does this person like me, so it's just that motivation to just keep interacting with people that want to interact with me. That's that cool thing on Twitch that I was just talking about. People and self-improvement.
Yeah, that's a great answer. Who are some underrated streamers that you would recommend listeners check out?
Okay, number one, I didn't even have to think about it. Number one, my good friend Jimbo, Jimbo, Jimbo is one of he's an up and comer. One day I think he's gonna make partner, I believe.
Oh, awesome.
Jimbo's one of those people that I found through the plant army, not directly. I mean, he's in the plant army, but he isn't like, oh, I jumped in your stream because of that. But just that plant army community has led me to a bunch of different people. But like when I think of people that are the embodiment of positivity and like what Twitch should be, that is Jimbo. Cool. I'm trying to think who else. There's just so many. There are so many people. I feel bad now that I've I pointed out Jimbo, but honestly, that is just the number one person that I think of. There are so many people that I interact with regularly that it's just like there just are so many good people on this platform, and while people are like, oh, partnership, that's like the gold star, and I guess it is, sure, but I don't think you have to be a partner to be a fantastic broadcaster. There's so many examples of that.
Yeah, I totally agree. So now I've just got a couple fun questions unrelated to streaming for you.
Okay.
If you could be any animal or creature, real or fictional, what would you be?
If I personally were this animal or creature, like I am now one of those animals.
Yes.
Okay, but why wouldn't I choose a fictional animal?
I mean, you can. You can do whatever you want.
Well, this is a loaded question. I'm trying to think of what is a really cool fictional animal then. All I can think of is like a unicorn, but I want to be able to fly, and I don't know what a flying unicorn is.
Like a pegacorn?
Is it really called a pegacorn?
I think it is.
And also, if we're going into fictional animals, like, is like a little lawn gnome? Is that like a magical gnome? Yeah, totally. Are those animals?
Yeah, sure.
This is too deep. This question is too deep for me.
Garden gnome or pegacorn?
I want to be able to fly though, so we're going for pegacorn.
What about like a Noma pegacorn?
Yeah, I mean, or like a centaur version, you know?
Oh
Of
my
a
goodness.
Yeah.
All right. How many 5-year-olds do you think you could take before they overpower you in a fight?
5-year-olds? God.
Yeah.
I'm so bad with children. I don't even I can't even in my brain scale how big a 5-year-old is.
They're pretty little.
I mean, but they're also just they're really scrappy, right? I mean,
Vicious.
I'm trying to think of maybe what the average answer is. Let's say I'll go with 20. That's a good round
20,
number.
holy cow.
I think I could
That's
take
a
20
lot
of them.
5-year-olds.
I think, okay, at that
Wow.
point, you have maybe you'd have 5 of them hanging off of each arm and then
Yeah.
5 of them on a leg.
each
I
leg.
think I could still be walking at that point.
One
So
more,
it's
maybe?
probably more than 20. I'm just saying.
I don't know. I bet they're stronger than you imagine.
See, that's what I mean. I need to see what one 5-year-old is like before I can
Yeah.
answer this question completely.
I need to know the average weight of a 5-year-old and
That's
how many
true.
of that equals my weight.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's all I've got for you. Thank you so much. Where can people find you?
Twitch.tv/IAMSPACESHARK, Twitter and Instagram, same, IAMSPACESHARK. I even have a mixer. Don't go there though, because
Whoa.
that's just a placeholder. You know, you gotta save your name just in case the world ends, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know why I mentioned mixer. I am Space Shark everywhere though. That's where I am.
Well, thank you so much for being on here. I really appreciate that.
Thank you for having me. This has been so fun.
Oh, thank you. Go follow Shark. She's wonderful. And we'll see you next time.